What's up, folks? I'm coming at you live from Ruidoso, New Mexico, baby. Yeah, I'm out here fishing. It's trying to get my mind off some things, right? I'm trying to get my mind off the apocalypse, but hopefully everyone can hear me just fine. Give me a thumbs up if everyone can hear me just fine. I'm out of my studio. I got John Pounders joining me today. This is going to be an epic broadcast. I told you, folks, you shouldn't be flying right now, but hey, we're going on that vacation. I want my pina colada. I understand. I get it. Everyone needs a vacation. I'm driving everywhere I got to go right now. I'm not saying things aren't going to clear up within a week or two, but it looks like things are intensifying. We're coming to that critical point. I said we're in the point of no return. Right now, Cuba's having a revolution. South America, everyone's starting to get the memo. You know what? We don't need to put up with this anymore. We're not going to take it. No, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. Yeah. All right, folks, so this is good. This is all happening at the same time. It's like you can feel the frequency of the planet picking up, right? It's like there's no going back. There is no going back. And with that being said, Trump deploys Doomsday plane. They're looking at about 100,000 troops for Iran. I think that's probably more than that. And airport travel turns into a friggin' nightmare, folks. So I think that probably in the next week could happen as soon as today or tomorrow. I think there's going to be an agreement reached, just a hunch, an agreement reached where there's a ceasefire. Probably will last a few days and then it'll pick up again. But folks, we are making Iran our bitch. We are making Iran our bitch. But that's going to have ramifications such as possible terror events in America. Now, I've said now's not really the time to travel, but hey, nobody listens to Sancho's travel advisory. Nobody likes to listen to him. But hey, I'm driving everywhere. So before I bring John Pounders on, folks, please hit the notification button, like, share, subscribe, share this video far and wide. And folks, Venmo, 𝗷-ROD1977, 𝗷-ROD1977. If you appreciate me, I appreciate you. Also, When the Lights Go Out on Amazon. I wrote that book in a month, believe it or not. And I think I might have it in me to write another. I'm not too sure. But I think a second book is coming. Also, The Mexican Mix, my mama's book. Please leave an honest review. I still read her the reviews, even though her dementia is really bad and she doesn't know what's going on. But she goes, "Oh, that's interesting. Who wrote that book?" I'm like, "You did." So it's tough. It's tough for me, but it is what it is. Also, X is Nino Boxer. Patriotwear.com. I also have a facelift coming to my brand. We're going to rebrand everything. It's going to be badass and awesome. That's coming probably in the next few weeks. Ringside with Nino. Ringside with Nino is this Wednesday, the 11th at 5 p.m. Ringside with Nino, 5 p.m. We're going to war game everything. I'm going to tell you everything I'm getting from 𝗪cie Juanito, Daniel Brinkley, the Ghost, everybody. It's going to be a big Ringside with Nino this time. Tell you exactly where everything looks like it's headed. Election stuff is coming out like crazy. We just seized all the election data from Arizona. The FBI just seized it. Big breaking news. I know what's happening behind the scenes. I told you there was a raid a while back. Now, they showed up in the building and asked for things politely, but now they just took it. So I'll go into more detail on that on Ringside with Nino. Also, folks, Nino'sCorner.tv. I got amazing guests coming on. 107. I wasn't able to post today. I'll probably post tonight. I got a new guest coming on, my buddy Jason. Going to be talking about how they're preparing for the second coming of Jesus Christ. What? Yeah, the second coming. The military is actually getting prepared for this. They're being told, like, hey, oh, by the way, there could be a second coming of Jesus Christ. This is insane. But my buddy, who's has a lot of good intel, very well educated, has been served in the military, high levels of military, is going to come on the show and share what he's hearing through his buddies through the ranks. So that's coming on Nino'sCorner.tv. I got a lot of big programs coming on. It's going to be explosive. So Nino'sCorner.tv, folks, get over there. It's fire. Yeah. All right. So before I bring on John Pounders, without further ado, you might want to turn it up or turn it down. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah. All right, folks. So let's get into this. Hopefully nobody comes knocking on my door. Whenever I do this in hotels or motels or wherever I'm at, I know I freak my neighbors out. Okay. So, folks, we are now here. The entire world is changing before our very eyes, and I know all of you can feel it. Every single one of us can feel this. Cuba is headed into an all-out revolution. It's happening now, and Iran is about to be America's little bitch. It's about to be America's little bitch. We have hit the point of no return. We are now at the point of no return with jihad escalating on all fronts. And they're not done. They're not done. I do believe that to my core that this war was inevitable. It was inevitable, and it was best to neuter the problem before it got out of hand. So in other words, what I'm saying is Trump had to take care of this problem right now. The threat of nuclear Armageddon is happening now instead of later. If it happened later, they would have possessed more weapons. They had 1,500 to 2,000 missiles pointed into Qatar, Dubai, everywhere. Folks, they've been neutered. It's been completely neutered. So as many of you said, a lot of you send me stuff about Charlie Kirk, and I'm not downing Charlie Kirk. I love Charlie Kirk. But I still think he was in that right-left paradigm. He didn't really understand the globalist agenda to the point of where we are now. You know, you listen to Candace Owens, all these people talking about like it's wrong to go into Iran. It's another war. We had to neuter it, folks, because later we can't kick the can down the road. This had to be taken care of right now. It had to be this wild card nuclear threat had to be eliminated. And Trump he's doing exactly what we put him in office to do. He has balls. He's going after them. He is the bull, or like Juan likes to say, he's actually the Magador. So either happen now, take care of the problem while we have the president, the Department of War, people like Pete Hegseth in charge, or it happens later and it is Armageddon. It is a nuclear holocaust. So right now is the best time to take care of it. And people don't seem to understand this. And like I was saying earlier about Charlie Kirk, a lot of people are sending me stuff saying it's a travesty to go to Iran. I really don't believe he understood the globalist agenda. I not to the level that a lot of the people that I talk to on my program do. I think he was, we all watched him get red pilled in real time with a college student tell him about 9/11, who really did 9/11. It blew his fucking mind live on air. I think all of you saw that. So right then and there, he was beginning to get red pilled. He did not understand the globalist agenda, why we have to take out Iran. And I think this is very important, at least for my audience, to understand this. This is a necessary evil we have to take care of right now, and Trump is doing the job. So there's no way to go to war with such a radical country like Iran and not expect ramifications. Of course, that's going to come. There's going to be casualties. That's just part of war. That's just what it is. As I've said many times, this war had to be taken care of now because it was going to be used as a wild card World War III move by the globalists. So we're eliminating that threat right now. A planned nuclear attack or attacks, plural, nuclear attack or attacks, plural, on all of Western civilization was in play as cells would be activated simultaneously in America and other Western countries. That was the plan. Now, a lot of you, that's just conspiracy. No, that was the plan. This is why Obama gave billions in cash to Iran for its nuclear development. And this is why the immigration invasion was so important under Biden. Cells to be activated to take down America's infrastructure, economy, everything. Trump is neutering the Iran problem now so we can go into the next step of this phase in operation, like, I don't know, public arrests. Y'all still, it's still not happening, Dave. It's not happening. You'll see. You'll see. It's looking looking like much of the ICE raids have taken down some of, or at least most of the major players of what could be the cell activation. But folks, there are millions of unvetted Middle Eastern and cartel gangs here in America that have slipped through the cracks. So I would imagine we're still going to be dealing with more bomb threats at airports. Maybe one gets through. I don't know. I thought the cartel warfare would be much worse than it is right now, but I'm hearing that there's troops down there right now taking these guys down. Like, that's not a joke. So Trump is dead serious. He's fighting multiple wars at the same time. The threats to me are still, I'm still, you know, and I'll talk to Juan about this and I'll talk to Ghost about this, but Russia and China, and Juan seems to say, hey, they are wild cards. They're going to do what's best for China. They're going to do what's best for Russia. So be prepared for anything. Be prepared for anything. It's impossible to catch them all. And so war will come to our soil. Question mark? I'm putting a question mark there. And you all put it in the chat, because I still think war is going to, and what I mean by war, terror attacks, long delays, flight delays, travel advisories. They might get, they're going to slip through the cracks, folks. That's just my belief. And that's may not happen at all. Maybe not, but I think there's a possibility. So Jim Ferguson on X, he says, Trump reveals the scale of Iran's war machine. President Trump has just revealed what many feared, but few understood. For months, Iran had thousands of missiles aimed at the Middle East. According to Trump, 1,200 missiles were pointed directly at the UAE, Qatar, Oman, and Saudi Arabia, part of a plan to dominate the region and hold its neighbors hostage. All these nations were afraid of Iran, and they had reason to be afraid, Trump said, but he added something equally striking. All the recent strikes, much of Iran's military infrastructure has been shattered, including most of the missile launchers, its air defenses, and even its navy. This is unbelievable. The strategic goal, according to officials, was clear. Stop Iran with building a massive missile and drone shield behind which it could develop a full nuclear weapon capability. The message from Washington tonight is unmistakable. The balance of power in the Middle East has changed, and Iran's ability to threaten and regain may have been dealt its most serious blow in decades. Folks, I forgot. Get your noble gold. Get your noble gold. Your 401k is just a number on the screen. One click, one crash, it's gone. Gold is different. Gold is different. You can hold it, hide it, pass it down. But for nearly a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped investors like you protect their savings and their future with physical gold and silver. So if you're starting to second guess the safety of your portfolio, now's the time to act. Download your free wealth protection kit and noblegoldinvestments.com. Noblegoldinvestments.com. Get started on it now, folks. Yeah, sorry about that. I usually run that first. John Pounders, let's bring him on. John, how's it going?
What's up, man? How is it going? I'm glad to be here, dude.
Well, I tried to bring you on in 10 minutes, but I got you on at 13:59. All right, so
perfect.
John, so obviously you and I both know this. We're on the same page with everything. How is your thoughts on the way Trump's handling this Iran war now? And I mean, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But the way I see it, the way I've been hearing this is going down is the way I just laid it out right now.
Well, I think it's inevitable that it was going to happen, like you said. I really, really do. I think that it's only been a matter of time before something escalates to the point to where either they're going to attack everybody or somebody's going to have to shut them down. I mean, there's just seems to be no way around it. And even if you look in Bible prophecy, there's a prophecy about Iran and how they get shut down and how this is just something that's going to happen, whether or not you agree with the methods or who's behind it or whatever. Really doesn't matter in the whole scheme of things, at least in my point of view. But that this probably did need to happen. I mean, to be clear, I've been to the Middle East. I was in Lebanon last year when they were bombing over in Lebanon. I was there. I remember, Nino, I was wanting to do a show with you, but I didn't have good internet where I was at.
Yeah, because they were bombing you.
They were bombing. Yeah, there was bombing going on. We were in Beirut, and then we went to several other places, and there were bomb drones that hit some of the places that we went, like, you know, maybe basically like an hour after we were there. But what happens, and I don't mean to put myself out there as a target, because as you know, Nino, there's a lot of these people right here in the border. But the truth is, when an area is dominated by Islam, there is violence and there is control, absolute control. And thankfully in Beirut, there's 30% Christians still. So Beirut wasn't as bad. But when you go into the outlier cities, you see what Islam's all about. And the fact that they're here right now, there's the I don't know if you saw the red flag that was raised above the mosque at
Yeah,
𝗬𝗃𝗃𝗃
revenge
Mosque.
correct? Jihad, correct?
Yeah, it's like it's all about jihad, and there's been people like we know this, that they've opened the borders, and these people that want to commit jihad, this is their goal, this is their religion, they believe this is the way that they get their 72 virgins, this is the way they get to heaven, and they're here, and they've been here, and they're waiting for the right time. And you nailed it when you said Russia and China, man. I don't know if you know this or not, but I had a vision, man, like where I believe this vision that I had. I even did a video about it a while back where an angel showed me that Russia and China were on the coast and nobody knew. Nobody had any idea that they were there. It didn't show me what happened after that, but it was like they were there and nobody even knew they were there, man. And like I can think about Americans, just imagine an attack on soil. Most Americans don't carry a gun. If there was an attack on soil and the military wasn't privy to this attack, it would be so devastating. If they just even had 100 troops that knew what they were doing, there would be complete devastation everywhere, man. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, basing where I go off those decisions, where I go off of that. So it's an important thing to think about.
This is interesting. So I'm going to read this just for a second. It says here, the bottom line: America has been living in a Top Gun movie. We watched the F-22 scream over Tehran on our phones, watched the tomahawks hit their marks, watched the ticker tape of geopolitical dominance scroll across the screens. We cheered. Some of us were right to. But the movie doesn't end with when the credits roll. Iran has networks here. They have state backing from Russia, passive intelligence support from China, and 40 years of strategic patience. Hezbollah doesn't need satellite coordinates to know which synagogue is on your block. An agency that should have warned your local police chief and its bulletin killed by the people running the war. America first doesn't mean America blind. It means we tell the truth, including the truth is uncomfortable for the people in power we support. The suppression of that domestic terror warning is indefensible. The depletion of CISA while cyber threats escalate is indefensible. The oil shock nobody's calling is a crisis yet. The gutted DHS leadership mid-war, the capacity around troop developments, these are not abstract policy debates. There are conditions under which attacks happen. Allah Akbar is not a phrase from a distant world anymore. It is a rallying cry being spoken right now by people who have been in your country for years, in our country for years, waiting. And the people responsible for telling your cop, your mayor, your sheriff what to watch for were told to stand down. Now, they are here. And I know that the initial raids, we went in, took a lot of these bad players out, big players, operatives, organizers, the head honchos. But there's still some that slip through the cracks. And there's millions of people here, man. So people really need to understand. I don't think they're just going to blindly do an Allah Akbar and some, like they shot up Austin. There's going to be the one-offs there, here and there. But I think they're going to do more of a coordinated attack on America. And I think they're waiting for the right time.
Yeah, I don't think people realize the scale of how many of them are here and the dedication some of them have to the religion. I really don't think people realize it, dude. Like just in small towns, there are harbor cities here around Kentucky. Like I live close to Kentucky. There's Bowling Green, Kentucky. There's places like that these people come and then they are paid to be there because they give them a certain amount of money to be there. They have multiple families where they're having multiple children. Just a story, real quick story. I used to treat yards when I first, I guess this was like 15 years ago. I worked for a company where I treated yards. We went to a neighborhood that was by this huge grand mosque that was built. Everybody in the neighborhood was Muslim. They were all there in that neighborhood. There was one guy that owned the entire street of all the houses. Each house had his own woman in it. They were all being paid by the government for all of these children. And because the women would say that they didn't know who the dad was. And he was the one that owned every one of those houses, and the government was paying for all of those houses and all of those children he was having.
He had a woman in every house?
A woman in every house with children. So he had a ton of children. We ended up treating.
You understand that that's not even Sancho does that.
Well, they're taking advantage of our system, like a lot of people are taking advantage of the system that we created for immigrants to come here and basically just soak the system, and we're paying for that. I mean, that's exactly what's
Well,
happening.
it's kind of like what Nick Shirley exposed too, how they just take advantage of the system. I mean, this is no secret, but it's out there now. And I think I had to wonder where this is all going to go, because we're going to understand that, and this is fluff tube, so we got to be careful here. But we're going to realize just what a threat they are and how bad this is going to get. And I think we're just beginning. We're just scratching the surface right now on how bad this stuff's going to get. And I think more threats, bomb threats. I mean, have you seen the air travel the last few days? How bad it's been?
Yeah, man. Wild.
People are waiting 5-6 hours in line. The line is going through the parking lot of the airport. Are you kidding me?
I'm not
Dude,
flying.
that's
right now.
unacceptable.
Yeah. I'm not flying right now. That's for
No.
sure. Like there's no, especially I'm definitely not flying unless it's like the only flights that I feel like are even viable for people or people have private flights right now. I mean, if even then it's like you're looking at the possibility that right now is like the height of terrorism that we've had for a long time. I don't know. What is it? DEFCON 3 right now? Is that where we're at?
It's DEFCON 3, but look at those lines in the airports, man. Look at that. I'm not saying something's going to happen to anybody. I'm not saying that, but do you really want to be caught in that picture right there? Does anybody really want to be in that line? Because I know I don't.
I hate the airport anyway.
I hate airports. Let me get to the next thing here. Iran warns the world that oil prices will go above $200 per barrel. At the start of 2026, oil was $60 per barrel. Remember, everything consumes oil, so the cost of everything will increase, in line, as people are already struggling just to be able to afford to live. So California, I think, is over $8 right now, right? That's what the prices they're seeing in California right now. I think it's $8 for gasoline. That's insane.
It is, man. And think about this: like we supposedly we're having our own oil, and then we have the Venezuelan, but that Gulf area, how much does it supply? I think I read somewhere it supplies almost all of China's oil, almost all of Russia's oil. Everything comes from that Gulf area there. So I wonder strategically, what are your guys saying strategically about the Gulf there? What is because they're trying to shut that down from what I can tell. I mean, pretty much it is being shut down, right?
I think this whole operation is happening in phases. I think Trump knows exactly what he's doing. I think obviously we know he knew he was going to go to war with Iran. So of course we're going to take Venezuela's oil. We're going to have to do everything we can to sustain the war, right? So everything that's happened, from the raids to capturing Maduro to now going into Iran, Cuba's going into revolt. All this stuff is happening, I think, in phases of this operation. And I think next will be, after Iran, obviously the election stuff is coming out. We just seized all the election records in Arizona. Don't you see this all playing out beautifully as Hillary Clinton is in the spotlight right now? I think we are heading into the midterms, 2026 midterms. And I do believe after Trump signs that executive order and national emergency, I think we're going to see military on the streets for the midterms, or at least it's going to be delayed.
So I saw in the article you sent me to the Save America Act, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because I did see something there where people were posting that there is also another act getting passed called the Save Act, and I don't know what all that entails, but I was seeing that there's a big difference between two that they're getting ready to pass. I didn't know if you knew anything about that.
I'm going with my instincts on this. I don't know if it'll pass, but I think an executive order is going to be in place. I think that's what's going to happen, and that's what's going to cause everyone to lose their damn minds, especially the Democrats. And that's what's going to cause. That's going to pull the ripcord for chaos, I think. And that's when they're going to say he has no right to do this, blah 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 blah, and it's going to get crazy because states are already changing the laws. They're finagling the bagel to try to, each state has their own laws on voting, and it's all leaning towards the Democrats. So I think he has no choice but to. I think it's going to come down to an executive order. To be honest with you, I think he knows he can do that. I think he's waiting to see what happens with this Save America Act. But And I think he'll make the move after that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, man. You think about, because during wartime, from what I understand, if it is, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, you probably know more about this than me, but if there is war during elections, does that have anything to do with Senate and Congress, or is that mainly just presidential when the war is taking place?
Presidential. I think it's mainly presidential. I could be wrong on that as well. I'll have Juan come in on that, but I've heard it's presidential. Like he will be able to act with an executive order and do a blanket power type of thing to where he can declare a national emergency, especially in time of war. It's on. This is it. But let me get to this next article because it's a morning show. So Trump just deployed doomsday nuclear command planes to the Middle East. Yeah. So let me just read that again. Just deployed doomsday nuclear command planes to the Middle East. These are not fighter jets. These are not bombers. These are surveillance aircraft. These are 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗹 planes, the aircraft designed to survive a nuclear war and command the launch of America's entire nuclear arsenal from the air. Now, this reminds me of like 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗲. Like, he said in March, the world will not be recognizable. And I think he was right on that. And I'm going to bring him back on, folks. We'll get 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗶𝗲 back on here. But he said this by March, which we're in right now, the world will be unrecognizable. And I do believe that we are at that point. So let's process this for a second. The 𝗬𝗏𝗶𝗃 is the plane that gives the order to launch nuclear missiles from submarines. It's a plane that survives when everything else is destroyed. It's a plane that was built for one scenario, nuclear war. There are only 16 of them in existence, and they just sent them to the Middle East. So let's recap on like what's really going on right now. Oil is at 120 a barrel as of right now, up 25% in a single day. $2 trillion erased from futures before market even opened. Japan crashed 6% this morning. Iran's new hardliner supreme leader just took power. Iran's parliament, if war continues, there will be no path for oil. 20 million barrels a day offline, largest supply shock in human history. So they're showing you oil prices and stock market futures. They're not showing you that the United States just moved its nuclear command infrastructure to the theater of war. You don't deploy doomsday planes for a conventional war. You deploy them when the nuclear option is on the table. And the nuclear option is only on the table when everything else has failed. And I don't think you can negotiate with terrorists. And that's what we're dealing with, right, John?
It seems that way, man. I've never been to Iran, but I do know people who live there, and they lived there during times where it was very oppressive, very, very hardcore, one of the worst times in history, I believe. And there's actually a guy, Patrick Bet-David, I'm sure you've heard of him, that he used to live in Iran, and he talks about this. And so these people who are terrorists out there, these people who want nothing but to murder people, I mean, there's only one way to deal with them, man. And like in the Bible even, and I hate to even really talk about, like, I'm always feeling like I'm making myself a target by talking about this, but in the Bible, Ishmael is the descendants, and Iranians aren't necessarily, what's interesting is Iranians aren't necessarily the descendants of the Ishmaelites. They're like Persian. There's like such a mix there. But ever since the Ishmaelites, for lack of a better term, went in and took control of the government, Iran has been ramshacked and it's been destroyed by these forces. And that was one of the things that the Bible said about Ishmael. And I'm not saying that there's no purpose to them, because I think God uses every group of people for the purpose. There's a purpose for the Muslims. They're here for something. God's using them for some purpose or another, good or bad, but they're being used for something. But one thing it said about them is they'll be like a wild ass and they'll fight everyone around them. So this is something that's literally ingrained within their DNA. And so like you have on top of this, you have a religion that deifies it. And one of the big things over in the Middle East is a culture of revenge. And so if you don't wipe them out, they're coming back. It's going to always be.
You wipe out what's the population? It's just billions, isn't it? What's the population of Muslims? I mean, you can't wipe that out.
You can't wipe that out. And it's just, that's the thing about Islam. It's really one of those things that's like, that's why when they say like, we're going to win this war, yeah, they might win the war with Iran, but like, how do you win a war with people when their culture is revenge? This is like what they live for. Their culture is to die for their cause. So that's the scary part about all of this to me. Like when I look at it, it's like, yeah, there's war politics, there's a lot of politics here, but these people, they have a drive and they're not like Americans, to where Americans, they, you can be whimsical. There's a lot of little things you can get, you know, captivated with, right? We can get captivated with horses, with races, with whatever. But like in their mind, like there is a cause, there is something that they literally dedicate their entire lives and minds to. And it's like somewhat commendable, because I wish Americans were that way about something. But at the same time, like this creates a big danger
Americans
for
are like that.
everything. Yeah,
Americans are like that. They'll die for football. They'll die for the NFL.
that's
They'll die for
true.
the
Yeah,
UFC. I mean, seriously,
cheeseburgers and everything. Yeah,
they'll die. They're tribal in the sense of Dallas Cowboys,
yeah,
UFC,
right.
reality TV shows. I mean, that's how dumbed down we are as a society. None of us are patriotic. None of us are fit. We may have all the guns, but it's a very few people that'll stand up to anything in this country. You know that. It's a very few alphas out there that'll do what they got to do. Pull the bootstraps up, get that gun, and go out there and have to fight if they have to. Most people, look what happens on the streets. Everyone's got their phone out doing this when something's happening. Everybody, even men that should be helping somebody, is sitting there recording it, hoping to get likes and follows. I mean, that's the society we're in. That's American culture right now. If we don't take care of this problem right now, John, if we don't get out there and take care of this now, dude, it's too late. It's too late in 2 years, in 3 years, 5 years. And the agenda is 2030. So we don't have time on our side. I think Trump is the guy to get this done, and we're doing it now. As ugly as it's going to be, we have no choice in this. That's how I feel about it. We don't have a choice in this.
It has to be cut out.
We may have hit we may have hit the wasp nest, but dude, we were going to do it anyway. This is a globalist play card to happen. I mean, Obama sent them billions of dollars cash on pallets to get this job done. Biden let in millions of immigrants to get this job done. So this cleanup, at least we're in the fight. At least we have the right people behind us right now to take it to them. Otherwise, it'd have been a wrap.
Yeah, because the connection to the cartels is something too. We talked about, me and you talked about that. I think it was last week or a week before, when we were talking about cartels. They have connections to that too. Those people want war just as bad as the people that are terrorists in Islam. They want this, and they've been collaborating for a very, very long time. And the fact that so I'm really thankful. I really am. And a lot of people, like, I get a lot of flack for saying this, especially to my crowd, but I'm thankful that Trump is actually doing something about it, because this has been going on for too long. And I'm like, I'm honestly thinking like it's too late even, like, and I know that I want to believe that it's not. I want to believe it's not. I really, really do. But man, if he pulls it off and he's able to literally get rid and eradicate all of the threats, because that's, like we said before, that is their army. That is the swamp's army, is are these people. And even if, like, the terrorists, even though they don't believe they are, they actually think that they're fighting against the one-eyed God. That's what they believe. They think we're evil. And some of it, some of our leaders are. I mean, there's no doubt, especially with the Epstein files, it probably doesn't help anything.
But when you can kill innocents, that's you're on the wrong side, bro.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You can go in and hurt children and women and think that God rewards that. You're crazy, dude. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Breaking airport security.
Hold on, real quick before we move on, though. Do you think that they, at the top, because I've always wondered this, and because I've heard people say it many, many times, but at the top they're controlled as well by a force, and it's like almost like guided, even though they're angry at this or that, but there's a guided anger, almost like we have guided angers and propaganda, like whatever. We remember when what was the guy that got killed on the streets in front of everybody, the black guy that got killed, and everybody went crazy. Like, we have propaganda, George Floyd, propagandized hatred. So like they have that same thing, and I wonder who's behind that.
Well, let's look no further than Albert Pike.
Yeah.
Look no further than the Scottish Rite Mason, Albert Pike, who formulated the 3 world wars. Look what's happening right now. Like, it's all going by plan. It all looks like to me like he was right.
Yeah.
They're following this guy's. He's the engineer of this, and it looks to me like it's going according to the way he wrote it down. There he is, right there. Albert Pike. Third World War occurred between political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. I mean, that's it. Call me crazy, but that seems like that's what's happening right now. I mean, really.
Yeah. I mean, he was right on the other world wars too. If you look at the other ones he predicted, I mean, it was like dead on exactly what happened. And that's exactly what's happening. It feels that way. It's crazy to think about. And it's almost hard to even talk about because none of us know like every little intricate part of what's actually going on. And this is one of the things to me. I look at both sides. I look at the Zionists and I look at the Muslims, and I think like, okay, what cultures do the Zionists run and what cultures do the Muslims run? Which one would I rather live in? And that's like, I feel like that's how most of us are making our decisions on who we want to win this. It's because like when you look at Muslim countries, it's not great. I mean, even in Lebanon, Beirut, which I actually deeply enjoyed there, deeply enjoyed the people there. Like it's not good. Like the culture's not good when they overrun those areas and do that. And Zionists, even though there is, and I'm just being critical here, but just like I would with anybody else, even Christians, I'm critical of all of these people. Like the problem is there's like an undertow wickedness, like with the Zionists, it seems like there's like people within that movement that are doing some evil, wicked stuff, but it's behind closed doors. So people don't see it as much. So which one's better? You know, you look at both and they're trying to destroy each other. That's exactly what he was talking about. It's crazy.
That's where I think the aliens come in.
Yeah.
That's where the New Agers
bring on the aliens. Yeah.
That's how they do it. I think that's how they play the alien card. Let us get to that ripened point where everyone's fighting with each other, and then boom, the aliens appear.
All right.
I mean, that would be the perfect plan, in my opinion. I think that's how they would do it. But let me get to this. Dow futures tumbled nearly 600 points as oil tops 100 a barrel, raising stagflation fear. Wow, stock futures plunged to start the week as U.S. oil topped 100 a barrel, raising concern about a stagflationary environment for the U.S. economy of rising inflation and slowing growth. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is coming off its biggest weekly slide in nearly a year. Futures tied to the Dow fell 595 points, or 1.25%. Paring earlier losses of more than 1,000 points. S&P 500 futures lost 1.2%, and NASDAQ 100 futures dropped 1.3%. Gosh, the volatility index, Wall Street's fear gauge, measures investors seeking protection in the options market, topped 30 for the first time since the market's tariff-driven sell-off of just last April. So this is affecting all of us. So Trump's Truth Social post said, great job by hardworking Scott Presler on Fox and Friends, talking about using the filibuster in order to pass the Save America Act, an 88% issue with all voters. It must be done immediately. It supersedes everything else, must go to the front of the line. I, as president, will not sign on other bills until this is passed, and not the watered-down version. Go for the gold, must show voter ID and proof of citizenship. Gee, that's a no-brainer. No mail-in ballots except for military, illness, disability, travel, no men and women's sports, no transgender mutilization for children. Do not fail, President Donald Trump. So, will this pass? I think it's I think he's gonna. Now I'm just guessing, folks. I don't know. I think this is gonna go to an executive order.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at like what's going on in the house. It just seems like they're always trying to stop the progress. I mean, we all voted for whatever Trump is going to do. And so I wish they would just allow it to happen. I mean, honestly, like when I look at what we've allowed over the last 20 years, man, I mean, I can't believe that there's such a fight back for people to like squash this bug. I mean, the more we let it grow, dude, the more we let it grow. And that's what I've been saying this for a long time, and you have too. But with the more we just continue to let this big swamp monster grow and grow and grow, like it's going to get so bad that we're all going to be enslaved if something doesn't happen soon. And it may end up in that eventually anyway. I don't know how it's going to all end, but man, when you look at like the arms of this beast and you look at the you're talking about oil, everything runs off oil right now, almost everything. And almost all the initiatives to allow for refineries around here for coal to be able to produce oil and gas have been squashed over the last few years while Biden was in presidency. So we don't even have the ability to do that with our huge coal resources that we have around here. Almost every other form of method of energy, whether it be nuclear or whatever, has been squashed so we're heavily reliant on oil, man. And it's a bad thing. You talked about the prices increasing. Imagine what that's going to do to the average person. I mean, me and you, we may not notice like a couple dollars a gallon. Most of the people listening may not notice it, but I mean, for some people, like they can put $2 in the tank.
That's diapers or gas, dude.
Yeah.
See, this is where I go with the alien stuff. This would, and as wacky and crazy as it sounds, but hey, who would bring us free energy and tell us to stop fighting with each other and be the saviors? Aliens. Aliens. That's who would come in and be like, you don't need oil. Look what we drive. Yeah. We don't need oil. You don't need to use oil. I'm telling you, I do believe this is where they're fucking hurting us.
Dude, I mean, you could, I think you're dead on with that too, man. Because that agenda, I mean, I know that's not what this show is about right now, but I've been looking at this really heavily because I have friends that I would say me and you both, we know like Alberino and people that are like heavily invested in the disclosure movement. And dude, like you can see the clause in it right now. Like there's people that really want to control what's going to be said about this, how it's going to be released. And there's no telling, man. I think you're on with that, though. I think the free energy thing is going to have to be because people aren't going to be able to afford.
Bring us all the answers we want, I want to believe Trump's trying to get ahead of the ball here, and he's not part of the problem, but I don't know. I mean, I see people like Jared Kushner behind him, and I have my doubts like everybody else, right? I definitely believe, Obama and Hillary was the 16-year plan of disaster. So I think we have been bought some time, but I don't know. I mean, my guess is as good as anybody else's. I do have some great guests that come on and we talk about these things, but there's always that potential, man. Like this does seem like it's all playing out to a prophecy. You'd be blind not to see this playing out biblically.
Yeah, because even if Trump, like that's the thing. It's like people can say, well, Trump couldn't do this. I mean, he's one man, and yeah, he may be trying very, very hard. He may not be. Like you said, we don't know for sure. We think he is, and a lot of people think he is, and we see hopefully a plan in the end that's going to pay off. But in the end, Trump can't trump God. He can't trump what is bound to happen. And you're right. That's part of it, man. The disclosure, the whole everything coming to light. Darkness coming to light. And when that happens, we may be surprised what we see in the end. When the smoke clears, who knows what's going to happen, man. I think biblically we know. I think Christ comes and sets things straight. We all go into this new system that's going to be different, man. I think that's what's going to happen, but I think there's going to be a lot that happens in between now and then that's really going to test a lot of us because we're so reliant on government. We're so reliant on everything. And so when something crazy happens, because if what you read there, what Albert Pike said happens, it continues to talk about how disillusioned everybody's going to be with the bloody turmoil and war. And then they're going to release the nihilists, it says. The nihilists are people who don't believe in God that could care less about anything. They think nothing matters, and they're willing to take everybody's life, do that. And then people are going to be disenchanted. So I think that we're going to go through a lot of testing right now. And look, dude, I'm going to say this, like, I think people, if you don't have a rifle, go buy one. But the Bible, what did Jesus say? If you don't sell something, sell your cloak and go buy buy something, but like, look, just in case, dude, most people aren't going to be ready. Like one guy with a good righteous mindset can stop a lot. You would be surprised at what you're able to do with just yourself. But most people, like you said, they're going to be on their phone. Like there could be somebody shooting, gunning people down, an army of people gunning people down. And most people are going to look with disbelief first. They're going to look at it and think, what am I looking at? Like,
They're gonna use it as an opportunity to get likes and shares, bro. That's
yeah,
really, I mean, you want to make a bet that a nuclear bomb can go off outside and people will run outside and put their phones up to record it, not knowing that they're going to be vaporized. I shit you not. That's
no,
what will
right.
happen. But
Right.
Alex, I sent you some articles right now to your phone that hopefully you can put them up. It's a U.S. commander said Trump anointed by Jesus to attack Iran. WRFF inundated with complaints that gleeful commanders telling troops in Iran war as part of God's divine plan. I mean, they're pushing this in some of the military, and then it's just so I'm bringing on my friend. Yeah, this is insane. I mean, U.S. commander said Trump anointed by Jesus to attack Iran, and my buddy was telling me that, and he sent me some other articles as well talking about how they're planning for the second coming of Jesus, and they're telling the military to plan for this. He's like, Dave, I'm not kidding you. He's like, they're actually saying this. This is actually a real thing. I'm like, this can't be real. And I'm going to send you another article right now, Alex, on this. So yeah, here it is. Commanders accused of framing Iran war as biblical mandate for the return of Jesus. So they're definitely following prophecy here, and what I think it's going to be is the Antichrist.
Yeah, dude, there's a group of rich men, and I would watch the documentary about it, a group of very wealthy men who they think it's their job to make Bible prophecy happen. And whether that means getting the world at war or whatever, like that's what they believe, dude. And so that's crazy that you bring this up, but I totally forgot about that documentary, but there are people that's what they want to do. And so it's crazy when you think about it. Is it Bible prophecy or is it just some dudes trying to make crazy crap happen, trying to bring Jesus on by themselves and making it happen? Either way, I think it's possible that what they're doing is guided by some kind of entity. I mean, how can you want to take that role into your hands otherwise?
Lucifer, right?
Yeah.
If you want to bring in the Antichrist, bring him in as aliens, bring him in as the coming of Jesus. This is so confusing, and that's why people have to use discernment and be strong in their faith. Now, I don't go to church every day. I don't crack the Bible open every day, but I do feel like I have good discernment, and I do pray every day, and I just feel like it says, especially after being sober, John, like I feel like I'm able to listen and obey better. Seek, listen, and obey. I remember a wise man told me, Matt, seek first, listen, and obey. And that's what I try to do in my daily life. Everyone knows my past. It's crazy, but I at least feel like I have some pretty good discernment. And I know you do too, John. That's why I bring you on the program, because you're one of the few podcasters I talk to that kind of have a level head and know what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate
There's
that.
The article
man.
right there. Commanders accused of framing Iran war as biblical mandate, Jesus return. This is where it's going.
Yeah. I think so, dude. People are going to use religion in a big way right now. I watched a video earlier that I think you would be interested in. I want to send it to you, but don't play it because it has copyrighted music on here.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of people talking, and they're basically saying how religion is the cause of every kind of war. So there's going to be a war against religion as well, I think, too, coming up. Not just a religion of the religions battling each other to bring on the return of Christ, but I think that there's also going to be this huge attack from atheists and people along those lines, because the way they see it,
𝗬𝗶𝗱𝗄𝗏 formula.
yeah, the way they're seeing it, this video, the way these people are seeing it, it was a compilation of a bunch of people. In their mind, all of the Abrahamic religions are the reason for every major war. And they believe all of the people on the Epstein files are part of the Abrahamic religions, all of the people that are in charge of all of the other things. And so in their mind, Abrahamic religion, anybody, that means Christians, Muslims, Jews, whatever, are the enemy. Like this is already being fomented in the minds of people right now.
So Iran threatens to nuke Israel with chilling image showing missile obliterating Tel Aviv. Iran has shared a chilling image of a nuclear missile striking an Israel city, which appears to be Tel Aviv, in a post on X. The account, previously belonging to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, warned that 𝗧𝗏𝗃 is ahead, in reference to the ballistic missile named after the Iranian city. So they're putting stuff out there to show that they're going to do this. But I mean, I'm like, why telegraph it? That'd be like me going into a fight and be like, I'm going to throw the left hook. Here it comes. I mean, that makes no sense to me. But apparently, I mean, they're trying to use every scare tactic available in their arsenal.
Propaganda, man, is a major part of war. And so that's another thing too. Like, we just by reading articles and what people are telling us, we can never even, me and you, Nino, we can never be sure if what we're being told is something to sway people's minds or if it's something to actually tell the truth. And I would say that most wartime propaganda, I believe, is not going to tell you the truth. Just like you said, you're not going to telegraph your every move. You're not going to say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. This is why I'm giving Trump the hope for what Trump's going to do in my head, because yes, he's surrounding himself with some people that I'm like, oh, hold on just a second. But I don't know his end move. I don't know his end goal. I can only hope that you keep your friends close, your enemies closer type mindset. And there's a switcheroo that's going to take okie doke taking place somewhere in the end. I can only hope that. And that's what I kind of go for. It's like, I don't know the plans. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. They're not going to tell me. They're not going to tell anybody. And if they do, they're stupid, because why would you tell somebody, I'm going to get ready to punch you right here with this right hook? You ready for it? Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about this for a second. President Trump on Iran. This is on his Truth Social. Their army is gone. Their navy is gone. Their communications are gone. Their leaders are gone. 2 sets of their leaders are gone. They're down to their 3rd set. Their air force is wiped out entirely. Think of it. They have 32 ships. All 32 are at the bottom of the ocean. And other than that, they're doing very well, he says. So, I mean, I think people like Obama got to be shaking in their boots. Think how much Trump had to accomplish in this presidency to get to where he's at right now. And look where we're at right now, to where Maduro's gone. The election stuff is coming out. Iran is getting wiped off. This seems to me like they see this materializing in a way that, oh man, and the Epstein files released. Hello, look how much has happened in 2026. How can anybody doubt that arrests are not going to happen?
I mean, I think they're already happening, a lot of them, and we don't see a lot of stuff what's going on. But dude, I'm seeing people getting arrested every day. People even in local communities that are high level people that are finally getting arrested for the crazy stuff they're doing. And so I see it. I see it happening every single day, which I never saw it before. I never thought some of the people that I seen go down recently would go down. People are getting fired. I mean, over this Epstein list alone, I think it was like 30 something people have either stepped down or been fired so far based off of the list. But dude,
actually, David Copperfield actually disappeared.
Did he really? finally actually disappeared.
He's not there anymore. He's not in Vegas. He's gone.
David Copperfield.
The biggest act yet. He's gone.
Literally this time, right? Or
yeah, he's gone.
He's actually gone.
Like, he's gone, dude. He's axed. He's out of there. So you want to stick around for some what the fuck news real quick, John?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is what the fuck news. I'm doing this from my phone, folks, so you got to be patient with me here. So I always bring up some what the fuck news because the world's so fucking crazy, and sometimes it's just good to just give an example here and there. So in what the fuck news, Los Angeles police have reported that a 46-year-old man has passed away early this morning after allegedly cutting off his penis cutting his penis off across from the LA Convention Center, and he bled to death. Officials say they do not yet know what may have motivated the man to harm himself. And the incident remains under investigation. Maybe he couldn't get the surgeries he wanted or she wanted. I don't know. But maybe it was the way he was identifying and nobody would respect that. So he decided to take matters into his own hands, literally.
Like a protest or something.
Dude, I mean, a guy lights himself on fire outside the White House. You got a guy cutting off his own dick. This is what, dude, do you see, honestly, with where society is going, any backpedaling on this, or are we just going to keep going off the cliff?
Dude, I hope so. I think part of that Save America Act is also cutting funding for the more woke stuff too. So I hope so, man. I think that's a lot of it because most people, dude, I don't remember anybody like this when I was younger. When I was a kid, like there was not this type of mentality. Most people were not like that at all. And I don't know if it's the lack of testosterone or just the propaganda, but it seems like it's propaganda, man. Most people wouldn't even know what this stuff is if it wasn't on the TV all the time.
I think it's our food. I think it's in the air. I think it's the chemicals, the forever chemicals. I mean, dude, that's just what it is. And everyone's just, I think it's messing with people's hormones, chromosomes, brain, everything. I think we are going into this deterioration phase of humanity where we're devolving or de-evolving. We're going backwards. We're not progressing. And I think this mental illness is going to pick up. It's going to get worse. And I think there's a divide now. And I was just talking about this with Jason, my buddy Jason. There is a clear divide now where like the people who are morally grounded, have ethical standards, are stepping up. And the people that are, I want to say, spiritually possessed or demonically possessed or mentally ill, whatever, they're picking their lane as we're picking our lane. And it's like the wheat separating the chaff, the wheat from the chaff. It's like there's a divide now. And it's happening so fast. And you're watching the people just get sucked into this doldrum of desperation and depression and mental illness while others are rising to the occasion. And there's that divide. And that's what I think is happening. What do you think?
Yeah, man, for sure. I was reading somewhere where testosterone in young males has decreased quite a bit in the last few decades. And that seems to be a pretty big issue. But I also read another article where it's talking about the male chromosome is like literally disappearing as we speak. And so what do you do about that? It's crazy.
That's how they're trying to get rid of us, right? So yeah. There's a huge war ahead, folks. John, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always fun. Let's do another show soon. I know we were going to do a show. I think we scheduled one, but I think the morning show.
You're gonna come on my podcast next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Got my word on it. We're doing it. John, thank you. Stay with us just for a second. Folks, go to Nino's Corner, Ringside with Nino, Wednesday. That's going to be Wednesday at 5 p.m., the 11th. What's today? Monday? So not tomorrow, but the next day. So Ringside with Nino. We'll war game together. It's the Black Sheep family. Also, Nino's Corner.tv is the place to be. We're the news before the news, baby. Yeah. All right, folks, stay with me, John. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the Black Sheep of broadcasting, baby. Later.